Welcome back. We're here live at E3 from PlayStation's booth right in the LA Convention Center. I'm here with John from Epic Games. We are talking Paragon. This is the MOBA from Epic. It's really, really deep. Whoa, my voice is starting to give out. It's really, really deep. This is a game I've put a lot of hours into, and I know it's a game that you guys are continuing to put a tremendous amount of development resources against. It's a game that continues to evolve. So tell me a little bit about the philosophy there.
Well, absolutely. We knew that going in from the very beginning, we wanted to really take advantage of being a live game. And it's one of the things that's most exciting for all the developers at Epic, being able to just go back and forth and update the game and change it. And we couldn't wait to get it out there live and see how players actually interact with it. So for us, we're really proud that we were able to keep up updates every week, significant changes to the game, and be able to keep evolving it with players, listening to their feedback, and changing it as we go.
So I know you guys have been pumping out new characters left and right every 3 to 4 weeks, it sounds like, right?
Every 3 weeks.
Wow, every 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I gave you some wiggle room there, and you didn't take it, so okay, we're going to hold you to that.
Yeah.
But it looks like, I think this is a new character right now, so why don't you tell me a little bit about this character?
So our next character who's coming through is Chimera, and he is, I think in a lot of ways, is the culmination of our hero design team really hitting their stride. So he's able to pounce in, he's a melee fighter, he's
awesome.
A duelist, and he also has a kit where his abilities work together. And one of the big pieces is he can not only just get into combat, but he also has some abilities that help him sustain. So get into a fight and stick there.
Awesome, that's really cool. I think I might try him out. I have not had as much luck with the tank-based characters because I'm not as good at the strategery part. You know,
Yeah.
I'm really more of a kind of mid-range, like caster type guy.
Yeah.
And I've always wanted a good melee character, and this guy looks like he's right up my alley. So tell me a little bit about what it's like. How are you guys keeping up with the pace of development? And by the way, we're seeing another new character you guys have just brought out here. This guy with
Richter.
the chains. Tell me about him too.
So Richter can be played in a bunch of different ways. One of his cool abilities is he's got a chain attack where he can reach out and grab enemies, pull them in. So it's another example of some of the characters that we have that are designed for team play. He can set up great plays, sort of bring a distant enemy into the fight and set up attack for another character like Chimera where he can dive in and suddenly set up a team combo. So what we love about this particular genre is you can find the character to play it your way, right? So if the melee tanks aren't quite working, you can try out some of the rangers, you can try out some of the duelists, and that's part of what's exciting about working on a game like this.
That's awesome. So you guys are doing a new character every 3 weeks. I mean, there's going to be, I'm just with some simple elementary school math, I can see that's going to add up pretty quick.
Absolutely.
How are you guys keeping up with this pace of development?
You know, it's absolutely a challenge, but it's part of what the team really enjoys.
Yeah.
With a game like this, we've got people all throughout the company who are always pitching ideas for characters or abilities, cool new things they see from something that inspires them. So if anything, one of the biggest challenges is taking all of those ideas and trying to mix and match which ones will be best for what the game needs next. And that's a big part of where we listen to people and pay attention to sort of what they're looking for, where we might have some gaps that we can fill with new characters who are coming up.
So I know you guys are hitting open beta this August, right?
August 16th.
There you go.
PlayStation and PC.
Excellent. Okay. So, and I know you guys have already made a number of changes based on fan feedback. I mean, I think there was a little bit of an increase in movement speed was one example. You guys also have a lot more changes, though, that you're continuing to sort of spec out and begin to roll into the game. So why don't you tell us a little bit about all that?
So a big part of it is being able to engage with people. So we're constantly reading all the different methods of feedback that we get, kind of sifting through things and seeing what inspires us. So you had mentioned movement speed, that's a big part of it. From the very beginning, committed choice and roles mattered a lot. And as we kind of looked at the game and how it's evolved over the last few months, we wanted to bend the characters a little bit to fit them a little more tightly into defined roles.
Oh, interesting.
So you get better team play as characters work together. So that's been a big part of it, and a lot of the changes that are coming up now are designed to get better interplay between teams and sort of change the way that people interact together.
And then I know the metagame itself.
Yep.
There's some adjustments coming there. So tell me a little bit about how you guys have approached the metagame in general and kind of where it's going.
Yeah, for the metagame, a big part of it is taking a look at how, now that we have thousands of players instead of just the development team, seeing how people interact with the mechanics of the game. So one of the examples is early on, one of the tactics that sort of got embraced was people moving together as a sort of rolling pack, tight group. And that was something that didn't provide as much variety as we had hoped for. So in our most recent updates, we've changed the way some of the XP is shared as people are killing enemies, killing minions, taking objectives. splitting it up a little bit. So in the early game, you're encouraged now a bit more to spread out and take different lanes, interact as a team in different ways, which is already beginning. It's been fun to see people change the way they play.
So I know this is, I guess, mildly embarrassing for for me because I've been working in games for 20 years now, I think. I had never played a MOBA, actually, before Paragon. It's my first MOBA. Yeah. And I am by no means an expert. I am a novice at best, I'd say. So what would you say to all those thousands and thousands of people watching us right now or watching us later on YouTube, to get over that MOBA hump? I mean, what would be your plan of attack? What's your advice?
I think one of the biggest things, first and foremost, is with MOBAs, you survive a lot longer, but you got to be a bit more careful. There's a little bit more strategy in how you interact with any fight. So I think the first hump to get over is being willing to retreat. Retreating, having a tactical retreat is a good thing. Pulling out of a fight when you know it's not going your way is huge. It helps you and it helps the team. The other thing that's really important is itemization and using the XP that you get in the field to return to base right now and then open up your card menu, start equipping those cards, because it makes a huge difference in how your character interacts with not only your teammates, but how you can take on enemies. So those are the biggest things up front that make a huge difference when you're first kind of getting your feet wet and learning the game.
That's awesome. So are there any characters that you think would be a particularly good fit for somebody just kind of coming into Paragon for the first time, trying to feel it out and have a good time without too much frustration?
Yeah. Well, one of the things that we added, and a lot of this was based on looking at our community and seeing how people played, we have recommendations within the menus.
Oh,
so
okay.
You sort of see which ones are advanced, intermediate. One of my favorites is Gideon. He's a great character to start with.
Good, yeah.
Right? He's got some ranged attacks, he's got some area of effects, so as you're getting used to the targeting, it's a little bit easier to sort of wrap your head around. And he's also got one of my favorite early abilities. He's one of our first characters. He's got a great escape where he can teleport out. But what a lot of people don't know is teammates can jump in and use his portal. So you can go in and engage as a team to get into a team fight, or if you need to book it and get out of there, you can also help your teammates get out. So I think he's a great starter.
That's awesome. I'm a big fan of Howitzer. I just love pelting enemies with grenades and kind of mortar fire from kind of mid-range. He's not really tough, but he's able to inflict a lot of damage. He's great at mopping up minions.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's a big part of MOBAs. Is it's not just about the PvP element. There's a PvP or PvE element as well.
Yeah.
Trying to clean up the minions, especially if the inhibitor gets destroyed. The minions get really tough, and you really need a way to manage those things.
Yeah, and that's one of the original things that really attracted us to doing this type of game. Is you can have a bunch of different types of play, right? So for some of the people that we work with, they love a hero like Howitzer, where you can be more support-based. You can have something that adds to the team without necessarily always having to focus on killing other players.
Right.
And that's the sort of thing that we think has a lot of appeal where, my groups of friends, not everybody plays the same way, and we don't always, we try and find a game we can play together, and I think that's a huge part of it.
So looking ahead for Paragon, you guys have been out now in early access since February, March, something like that?
March, yeah.
March, okay. So, but you're just getting started.
Yeah.
I mean, open beta is coming here on August 16th, you said.
Yep.
And even that, I mean, that's still very early days for this game.
Yeah, and it's for us one of the next big major steps where we're going to be able to bring everybody in and they'll be able to play for free in August and see how, as we grow in scale, how it changes the sort of team comps. New people come in with new ideas of how to play. And as we keep rolling out new heroes, every one we release is a new way to play the game, a new way for teams to interact. So it's exciting to sort of see how people get in and sort of use the toys that we build.
That's awesome. And then looking way down the road as you sort of hit these major milestones, what do you think's next for Paragon?
For us, a big part of it is continuing to be a great competitive MOBA. And so one of the things we've rolled out recently is draft matchmaking, which sort of pushes forward the strategy to the very beginning of the game, where you're starting to immediately pick a team comp and decide which heroes you're going to select, how they're going to work together. That's the type of thing that leads into that spirit of competition that's so important to MOBAs. It's been great seeing the community organize their own tournaments, and we've been really happy using our sort of replay systems. You see things people are uploading to YouTube, great team plays, great tournaments, sort of people doing breakdowns of, oh, this was a great moment in the match, and that's the sort of thing that we're looking forward to.
That's awesome. John, really appreciate you swinging by to show off Paragon and what's happening there.
PlayStation.